Hello, everybody. Hello. How are you doing? How are you doing? This is the S. Anthony Thomas. This is the S. Anthony Says podcast, episode number 493. And I'm going to call this one, It Just Ain't the Same Anymore. And I'll explain why. You know, you ever remember when you were a kid and you'd watch your parents, they'll see one of those TV commercials that plays songs from their childhood, and you didn't like the songs because you didn't have any idea about love and romance because you were just a kid. You don't know what the hell's going on. And you see them getting all misty-eyed about a song. This is our song. And you're going, what is wrong with these two old people? Right? You know, they get really hyped about a song you've never heard of. You turn it on TV and everything's in black and white and the film stock is grainy looking. And you think this is the corniest thing in the world. And you see all these little corny dance steps and your parents are doing the dance steps and nobody's there but you, your siblings and your parents. And somehow you're still embarrassed for them. You get up and you close the curtains because you don't want anybody to see them looking like idiots. That's because you're not really old enough. You haven't been alive long enough to understand or feel any real nostalgia. You have memories. You get to be 12 years old, 13 years old, 15 years old, even 20 years old, and you think about things, but is it really nostalgia when you haven't been on the planet that long? I don't think so, punk. But your parents have nostalgia and they understand it, and your grandparents. Well, I'm a middle-aged human being right now, right? And I was watching something on TV and I'm sorry, not TV. It was on YouTube or whatever. And they were playing, do you remember these songs? And they were playing theme songs from 80s television. Now I was a kid in the 80s, right? But I remember the words to those TV theme songs. I remember how fun it was because I became a teenager in that decade and it was great. I remember how much I loved those shows and I had positive memories. I remember when I was a kid getting the toys that show had about this truck from this show and a bike from that show and an action figure from this show. And I remember those shows, right? And then because you know how the algorithm works on these social media sites, you watch something from the 80s, they gonna keep throwing stuff from the 80s. And they'll even test some late 70s stuff on you. And I remembered some of that too, because I was a baby and a child back then. But I remember some of that stuff. And then they start playing music from the 80s, right? The decade I became a teenager. Oh man. Right? They started out with Michael Jackson. They went to Prince. They started playing all that other stuff. And Prince is my favorite artist. Michael Jackson's one of my favorite artists as well. So I'm having a great time listening to all this music. It's nostalgia. I'm feeling the same kind of nostalgia that you feel, that the same nostalgia that your parents felt. Oh man. Right? I'm a grown man standing there doing my laundry. And what did I catch myself doing? I catch myself doing some Prince moves. Didn't do the split though, cause, I gotta go and, walk at some point today. But I daggone sure did a really good moonwalk. I did that spin and stood on my toes. I did some of Prince's hand movements that he did when he was in the movie. I did some of them Purple Rain dance steps that he did. Not the split, cause I gotta walk later on. But you know what I'm saying, right? And I realized, I'm as embarrassing as they were. Oh no. But is that really a bad thing? No, it's not a bad thing. It's good to have memories. And it was really weird to have memories because things aren't the same now. A lot of things aren't new to me anymore. They're not new to you anymore. It's kind of hard to do anything new nowadays. Everything just changes so quickly. You don't even get an opportunity to enjoy it before it's replaced by something else. It's not the same anymore. But that's on the positive side. That's when something good and cute and fun from your past happens. But sometimes when you say it's not the same anymore, sometimes it's a bad thing too. One of the things that came up next on YouTube and the algorithm is interesting. It started sprinkling in some of those Reddit stories, right? Oh, she cheated or he cheated and I got my revenge. They cheated and they ghosted me and I got revenge. It reminded me of a couple of things that happened to me in my past. And I was reminiscing as well. But this time the nostalgia wasn't fun nostalgia. It was hurtful nostalgia. It was painful nostalgia. It was a nostalgia. And I wish we could just take the 2 letters off that no and get it out of there. But no, I had to relive it. One of the most painful ones was one that happened to me when I was a young man, a very young man. And as I've talked about on this podcast before, I started doing comedy when I was 17. And as soon as I turned 18 and 19, the women I was dating they were all older than me, 25. Now, granted, 19 and 25 doesn't seem that like it's that many years, but it's a lot of years. And 20 and to 28, and she's 28 and I'm 20. It's a lot of years, man. That's a lot of years. That's dog years, my friend, in a romantic sense. Now, when I listened to this Reddit story, this guy had gone from adoring his wife, and then she did some really horrible things on the infidelity tip, just really mean things. She didn't take him into consideration at all. And then when it all crashed down in her face, she wanted to come back to him, but she had been so callous, so mean to the guy, but the guy just couldn't do it. She tried to be friends with him. He tried to be friends with her for the kids. And then she tried to make a move on him and kiss him, and he just backed away in disgust. And when she saw the disgusted look on his face, she was hurt more than she had ever been before, because when they were getting a divorce, she was smiling and happy to get rid of him, not realizing she really messed up. And she was surprised that he didn't love her at all. A couple of minutes ago, he was smiling, having a good time, laughing and joking, trying to be cordial for the kids. And she tried to be kiss on him. And he, like I said, he had a look of disgust on his face. He even told her, I can't touch you. You let another guy touch you. I can't kiss you. And he described something about her mouth being used by the other guy in a way that should only be used by him in that particular way. Well, you get the point. Those particular areas, the particular part of her, not just physically, but spiritually and emotionally, that was supposed to be just for him, had been violated at her behest. She chose to let another person violate the covenant, violate everything, and he couldn't go there because he was disgusted. Some of the people that commented were like, how could you not feel good for your wife? She came back to you. And I'm telling you, I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to find out that you really, really cared about someone, and then you find out that they did something so horrible, so callous. 15 seconds earlier, this was the most important person in your world. You would have done anything for this person. If 27 pit bulls with ninja swords in their paws were coming towards this woman, you would have jumped in front of her, and either you would have found the power to beat these ninja pit bulls, or you would have died trying so she could have gotten away. But that was 15 seconds ago. Now you know what you know for sure, and you know what she did, and you know how she did it, and you know she enjoyed doing that because she got away with it and didn't even give a crap about you, didn't think about you, wanted to continue to have you be used by her, not caring about how you felt. When I was that young, if you would have told me that amount of love that I had for this human being could be siphoned out of me, right? You ever take oil out of the bottom of a car when you're trying to change oil? You put the oil pan under your car, you take out that bolt, and all the oil, 5 quarts of oil or whatever amount is in your car, comes draining out in seconds, and there's no oil in your car, and then you have to replace the oil. You ever stick a pin in a balloon and you see the balloon very quickly deflating? It was full of air, and now all the air is out. You ever taken a big water bottle, turned it upside down over the sink, spun it around so the water inside the glass spins around and makes the air come out? It makes the air replace the water inside the glass even faster than it normally would. If you would have told me at that time, if you would have told young me, young S, if you would have told young S that the love I had for this beautiful 28-year-old would disappear, would be drained out of me like water over a sink, like air out of a balloon, like oil out of a bottom of a car. If you would have told me, I wouldn't have believed you. But in that moment, I could feel it draining from me. I'm looking at her face. Evil nostalgia, bad nostalgia, negative nostalgia. I'm looking at her face. 20-year-old me, 28-year-old gorgeous her. I'm looking at her face. And I know what I know. And 15 seconds ago, 30 seconds ago now, I would have done anything for her. I would have been looking at her wearing what she's wearing. And I would have wanted to jump on top of her and give her that good deep business so good she thinks it's Christmas, like I have been doing damn near every night for the past 6, 7, 8 months. But now, no. I could feel the love and caring I had for her draining from my body, methodically. And just like that bottle upside down over the sink that you spun around so the air could smoothly fill the bottle and replace the water until the bottle was empty, I could feel something filling the space. And you would think it would be hate. And if I was less hurt and less destroyed and loved her less, it might have been hate. But it was something different. Something even worse than hate, because I didn't know at the time, and I know as an older guy, if a woman is breaking up with you and she's still mad at you, you know, in some cases you may still have a chance because she still has emotions in your direction. I've been mad at people and they have been mad at me. And because we were still mad, we still were able to feel emotions for the other person. There was still something inside of us, some kind of emotional attachment. And we were able to get back together. But in this case, oh no, it was not hatred that replaced the love. It was indifference. And that's even worse. You ever run into an old friend, maybe an old college friend or an old high school friend, right? And they were a good friend back in the day and you haven't seen them in a decade or two, right? But they're not the same person they were 10 years ago, 20 years ago. No, they're not the same person. You were friends back then, but you lost contact for whatever reason. And you're happy to see them. You shake their hand. But if you really think about how you feel about them emotionally, they are literally just one step above a stranger who was nice to you. Because sometimes if you run into a stranger that's nice to you, hey, I still got some gas on this pump. I put too much money in, man. Hey, man, why don't you pull up? It's probably like $5. You might as well get this $5 of gas, and then whenever you want to get, fill up whatever else you want. Hey, man, I still got some time on this meter, man. It's like an hour from this meter. Hey, man, take this ticket, man. Put it in your window and get big. Oh, man, I left my wallet. You know what, man? I left my wallet too, man. You know what? Here's $5, man. No, don't worry about it, brother. Somebody does something nice for you like that. Somebody holds the elevator. Somebody lets you cut in front of them in traffic. They're a stranger. You don't know them, but they did something nice for you and you have a positive feeling. And if you notice, seeing that old friend, the positive feeling is just a little bit more than that. They're just one shade above. A little bit of a difference. Now, why did I say that? I say that because the level of indifference that I had toward this particular lady was one shade above something else that I could compare it to. You ever been standing in an elevator with someone that's talking to someone else? You know they're there and they're talking, but you don't give a damn about what they're saying. I was one shade above that feeling for this particular woman, because now she's talking. She's looking at my face and she realized that I had aged about 10 years in 15 seconds, because now, even though I'm still 20 years old, I have been damaged by her actions to the point where I now have the emotional maturity, at least in romantic situations, of a 30-year-old. she tries to come towards me with some advances on the physical side, and she still looked great. And I had birth control and she was on the pill. So I figured, in my mind, I'm thinking, I might as well do this one last time to remind her of what ain't ever going to happen again. And also, why not? I'm already here. So I pick her up, I carry her back to the bedroom, and I, gave her that good deep business so good she thought it was Christmas like 4 times in a row. Remember, I was 20. Okay, I was 20 years old. Give me a break. That's a whole weekend's worth now. I'm just kidding. I'm still incredible. Shut up. Back to the story. And we're laying there. Not to be indelicate, she's playing with something. I'm not going to say what it is, but it rhymes with my Venus and besticles. And she's looking at me, and she has that lovey-dovey look in her face because, like I said, 4 times in a row, over the course of I gave her that good deep business. She thought it was Christmas. You understand what I'm saying? But in my mind, once again, remember I just said, that person that's in the elevator, that's talking to somebody else, I know they're there and they're talking, but I don't care what they're saying. Well, here I am, right in the bed next to this gorgeous woman with the perfect body, looking like Halle Berry, but cuter. And she's thinking we're getting back together and I hear what she's saying and I know she's there, but I don't give a damn. And I got up and I got dressed. Put my clothes back on. And under normal circumstances, after doing that with her, that would be when I would go to the store and I would get her something to eat and I would say something along the lines of, I don't put your clothes back on because when I come back, all you're going to do is put on a robe and I'm putting you right back in there and giving you that business again. But I didn't say it this time. This time I said, I just wanted to say goodbye to you. Because I know what you did. And I explained what I knew. And how I knew. And now she knew. We were through. I'm the king of rap. Right? She jumps out of the bed. She's damn near crawling across the floor, begging me to come back. And I'm looking at her. Once again, under normal circumstances, if you love a woman and you can see pain in her face and she's crying and she's begging or something like that, you would feel crushed. You would feel something. I felt nothing. Because you know what you did. I didn't deserve what you did. I think you know what she did. It rhymes with cheating with an older guy who had money because he had money. Okay, that's not the rhyme, that's the actual thing, but you get the point. I had to go and I went, she tried for weeks to get back with me. And I wouldn't even take her phone calls. And she finally got the message. And she finally stopped coming to my damn shows and trying to sit up front with her girlfriends and trying to follow me after shows begging. I said, listen, no. And I said, listen, you can either stop coming to the shows on your own, or I can tell the management of every comedy club in the tri-state area that if I'm there, you're not allowed in the building. It's up to you. And she finally got the message. Now, all of this was brought up by me watching something on YouTube. The first thing, like I said, was really fun 80s and late 70s TV themes that I was surprised that I remembered the words to because I haven't heard those things in decades. And all the great music I used to listen to, and actually I purchased all of that music, so it was kind of cool to listen to it again randomly. Because nostalgia is a good thing sometimes. And sometimes it sucks. You dig? Of course you do. Folks, guess what? This episode is now over. Thank you very, very much for listening to the show. I appreciate you. Do me a favor. If you love this podcast, and you do me a favor, rate and review this podcast 5 stars, please, on whatever podcatcher you're listening to it on. Remember to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Follow on Spotify or Apple or wherever the heck you're listening on. Tell a friend, tell a family member, spread the word. If you see my podcast online somewhere, make sure you reblog it, whatever the hell it is, just whatever it is, share the link to the podcast online, okay? I would appreciate it. And to the new listeners in new countries, thank you very much. This is episode number 493. So if you're listening to this and you like this, there's a whole bunch of other episodes that you can listen to, and I'm proud of every last one of them, or they wouldn't have been put up. Also, before I go, remember I have another podcast called The S. Anthony Thomas Show. I would appreciate it if you go and check that out as well and show it the same kind of love that you show this show, okay? Coolness, my friend. Much love to you all, and I will see you again next time. Take care.